Fantastic. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Okay. So I have a small little video pop out on the side there where I can see you. So I'm going to try to make that a little bigger and hopefully not block all of my slides there. But welcome to self-care during a pandemic. Oh my gosh, what is that? We are in such an unprecedented time right now. And what that means is that we have to do things a little bit differently. So I am so grateful that you are here today, that you are choosing to have a little bit of a break from whatever your normal day-to-day is right now, whatever that quote normal is, and you chose to spend an hour with me today. I'm gonna share a little bit about who I am. For those of you who don't know me, I am Pamela Zimmer. I'm known as your self-care concierge, and I was a former architect for 13 years in California. I grew up in the Bay Area. I went to school in Southern California, and then I moved up to Truckee into the mountains by Lake Tahoe and had a career there. Had a very successful career. 7 years I worked for a firm, and then almost another 7 years I had my own firm with a business partner. And we did some work here in Reno. We had, since we were right on that border of California, Nevada, we had dual licenses. And I remember one of my favorite projects was working on a spa here in Reno. And I'm not sure why that story is popping up for me right now. Maybe it's because a lot of times when we hear that word self-care, we associate it with a spa day or just going to get a massage or a pedicure. And these are things that we can't even do right now. At least most of the world can't even do that. I know there's some areas in the United States that are opening up in this phased process. We've started to open up here in Reno a little bit, but I certainly can't go get my massage like I normally do. But again, a little bit more about me. I always wanted to have a career like my dad, and I always wanted to be this wonderful, amazing stay-at-home mom like my mom. And when I was pregnant with my first son, with our first son, Zachary, we have two boys now, they're 9 and 12. And when we were pregnant with our first son, Zachary, it was in 2007, right smack in the middle of the recession, right when my husband thought that it was going to be a great idea to get into the mortgage industry. And I think we can all visualize what happened, and it didn't quite turn out the way we wanted it to. So needless to say, he was the stay-at-home parent for 1.5 years, and I got to go back to work. And it wasn't that I got to go back to work, I had to go back to work, and I hated it. I really, really just wanted to be at home with my baby, but I didn't have a choice. We didn't have a choice. I was the one that had an income. I had to support us. And I'm actually grateful that my husband got the opportunity to be that stay-at-home parent, because it really helped us in what was to come the following years. So fast forward about 2.5 years, 2 years, 9 months, and we had our second son, Braden. And right before I had Braden, this was in 2010, I decided that the tug on my heart was a lot stronger to just be home with my family than to continue this career in architecture that I had sort of lost my passion for. I loved it when I was doing it. I was good at it. We were successful, but my heart wasn't in it anymore. Does anyone else ever have a similar, or has anyone else had a similar experience, right? Like, give me a thumbs up in the chat or a yes. Where our passion just isn't our passion like it was before. And so, yes, Wanda and Johnny, we have to pivot, right? And I know that word pivot is used a lot right now, but I gave myself permission to quit my career for motherhood. And I thought that I was going to just be this wonderful stay-at-home mom and do crafts and have play dates and bake and do all the things that in my head I thought was this perfect mom thing. And I soon realized that there's no such thing as perfect mom. And 4 months after Brayden was born, I was diagnosed with severe postpartum depression. And I remember that day so clearly. It's like it just happened yesterday. It was a moment where everything in my life just got flipped upside down and my whole path changed. And that moment is really what jump-started the career that I have today and teaching people about self-care. And I will say that I have been scared. I have been nervous. I have been questioning, what am I doing? I have felt guilty for giving up this career. I have felt guilty for not being this happy, perfect mom that I said I wanted. And I've learned that self-care was the biggest lesson that came out of what I had experienced, and that was 6 years of postpartum depression. So I don't know if anyone has ever had depression, postpartum or other, or knows someone. Hi, Miss Patty, you're here, yay. But I will tell you this, and this is my little plug for postpartum depression awareness, is it is the #1 complication associated with pregnancy and childbirth, yet it is far less talked about. It's actually more common than breast cancer. And we don't have a ribbon for it. We don't have a run and a walk and fundraisers and all that stuff for it. Yeah, Eva, you can relate to it. And so I got started on this journey being able to talk about postpartum depression. And the more I talked about it, the more I healed from it. And the more I healed from it, the more I talked about it. And the more I talked about it and really opened up about it, the more I realized that the thing that got me out of it, and to this day is the thing that keeps me out of depression, among other things. But the one thing is that I have a solid practice of self-care. So that's a little bit about me. I am going to honor your time, and I'm going to keep this to an hour. So I will let you go at noon. However, as I mentioned earlier, if you have questions or you want to just chat afterwards, I will stay on the Zoom for a few minutes after so that we can just keep the time succinct, and I can respect your time and you can respect mine. If you do have a question, again, just put it in the chat and I will try to keep an eye on it. But if for some reason I don't get to your question or I skip it, just pop it in there again at the end. So if everyone's okay and you can pinky swear with me that you'll be my partner and just kind of row with me and go with me, give me another thumbs up or a smile or a wave or a something, just so I know that you're there. This Zoom is great for connecting with people all over, but it also is, as a presenter and as a facilitator and as a speaker and a coach, it can be a little awkward because I don't feel your energy and you're like this little on the side of my screen over there and I can't see everyone. So thank you for that. I do see some smiles though, so that's great. Awesome, thank you. So we're on this call today, this training, to talk about self-care during a pandemic. And I don't know about you, but I would say that COVID-19 is a pretty huge curveball that got thrown to the entire world. We have never experienced something like this, at least not in our lifetime. And it's uncertain, and there's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. My routine went out the window, if I even had a routine to begin with. So what do we do to stay in the game? What do we do so that our dreams and our purpose and our mission doesn't get benched? What do we do so that we can still play in our business, so that we can still enjoy our family when we're forced to be at home with them? And I know that there's both sides to this current pandemic that we're in. I know there's the people that are completely alone, that don't get to have family around them all day long. And then there's the people like me who I'm blessed to have my family with me, but I see them 24/7, and God bless them and God bless me. We love each other. But this is a new normal for us. So we're in this weird game where we don't necessarily know what the rules are, or the rules keep changing. And it's like, you remember when you're a kid and you make up a game and then someone's like, oh, but I want this to be the rule. And you're like, no, that's not the rule. That's not what we agreed on. And oh no, that's okay. Like, let's add this rule in there. I feel like that's what COVID is, at least for me right now. It's sort of, and it was more so in the beginning than it is now. But it was like every day, almost every 2 hours, there was something new coming out there, a new rule for this game, this pandemic that we were in. So what do we do? How do we stay in the game? My answer for that is, of course, self-care, because I'm the one who preaches all day long. And for those of you who know me, you know my favorite tagline is self-care isn't selfish, it's essential, right? Like, how many times have you heard it? I hope that it goes in and it sticks and it doesn't just like go in one ear and out the other. Self-care queen. Yes, thank you. I crowned myself the self-care queen. Yes, thanks. So what is self-care? What is it? I know that there's a lot of, and I don't want to use the word stigma because that's not necessarily the right word, but there's a lot of preconceived ideas of what self-care is. A lot of people, and I used to be the same way. I used to think that self-care was, oh, I go get a monthly massage, I'm good. Oh, I get my nails done, I'm good. Oh, I slept in on Sunday, I'm good. Oh, I drink my water, it's okay, I'm good. And what I've realized is that there are different levels of self-care. And all of those things are fantastic. And we need all of those things. We need the massage for our body. We need the water to hydrate ourselves. We need to get our nails done if that's what helps us feel good on the outside. Because when we feel good on the outside, it translates to the inside, especially when we're not feeling good on the inside. We kind of have to do something to jumpstart it. It's like getting dressed in the morning. How many of you would agree that, especially while we're stuck at home, if you have a day where you're just in your pajamas all day, maybe you're not feeling as confident or outgoing or joyful compared to the days when perhaps you get up, you take a shower, you get dressed, right? I know for me that the days that I get dressed and take a shower, even if I'm not going anywhere, even if I don't have a single Zoom call and I don't have to be on video, I feel better. So there's different levels of self-care, and we have to know what self-care is before we can practice it. So I like to think, and this is one thing that I share with everyone, that there are 4 elements to self-care. And I have this little pinwheel image up there. And how many of you have seen that pinwheel from me before? I know a few of you have. I know Michelle and Patty, you've seen this pinwheel analogy. And I actually, I happen to have one with me. So there are 4 elements to self-care, and real briefly, I will get into them because they all are important and they all work together. So self-care, think of self-care, again, not as just these massages and pedicures and sleeping in and little surfacey things, which, don't get me wrong, are great. I love them. When the spas open up, I will be the first one to go there again. But we also need a deeper connection to ourselves. So there's 4 areas of self-care, and you can write this down because I don't have a slide for this. And it's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Those are the 4 areas: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And these areas are all important, and they're all important that they work together, because if you think of a pinwheel, right? You think of it that if this is our self-care, this little pin in the middle, and these are our areas: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and they all work together when the spokes are beautiful and pretty and they're not bent or anything. But what happens if, and I'm not going to rip it, but what happens if I ripped off one of these spokes? It would kind of like glug, 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 glug. It would wobble along and it wouldn't spin. It wouldn't be pretty. It wouldn't flow, right? So we need to have self-care in all 4 of these areas. And you're probably thinking, well, that's great, but I still don't know what self-care is. So think of self-care as the foundation. As a former architect, I still have that analytical brain, and self-care is like your foundation. It's the things that we don't always see. It's the rebar in the concrete. It's the waterproofing on the roof. It's the insulation in the walls. All of those things. It's the systems that work together without which our building would fall down, or it would just be a shack and it wouldn't really keep us safe or protected. So that's what self-care is. So an example of physical self-care. What are you putting in your body? Are you drinking enough water? Water break. What kind of nutrition are you giving yourself? I am part of a company that does DNA-based nutrition, and you simply swab your cheek, you send it off to a lab, and poof, 30 days later, out comes your own custom blend of nutrition. You get a report. I have a copy of my report here. You get a report, a DNA report. That is a 35-page report, and this is the blueprint to my health on a genetic level. And I get to know that I'm doing the best for my body with my custom DNA nutrition. So that's something that I'm doing for my physical self-care. Exercise, sleep, all of those things fall into that category of physical self-care. What about mental? Let's talk about mental. Especially right now during COVID, when we are at home and we can't do the things that we normally do. Our kids can't go to school. What are we doing to boost our skills? What are we doing to learn something new? What kind of content are we digesting? Are we just sitting on the couch watching crazy Netflix shows, which that's fine, but what's the intention behind it? You know, what kind of shows are you putting into your brain? What are you consuming? What kind of information are you consuming? Where are you consuming information? Is it from a trusted source, or is it from someone that you don't know and then your mind's going all over the place? So what is your mental self-care there? What are you doing to stimulate your brain in a positive way? What new skills are you learning? And what kind of information and knowledge are you consuming? That is all mental self-care. Emotional self-care, that's our heart. I don't know about you, but I have had some days where I have just lost it, and I have spent the day crying. And I remember one of those days was the day after I found out that school was closed for the rest of the year here in Reno and the state of Nevada. And I kind of knew it was coming, like mentally, my head knew it was coming, but my heart was still clinging on to this hope that, oh, I don't know, maybe our kids will go back to school, even if it's just 1 week in June, to see their friends and to say hi to their teachers and to get their belongings and to just have normalcy again. Who craves normalcy? I crave normalcy. And my heart was just heavy and hurting, and I had to let it out. I had to let myself feel. That's part of emotional self-care, is you have to let yourself feel, because it's like a balloon. If you don't let yourself feel whatever emotion it is, that balloon's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And what happens to a balloon when it's filled too much with air? It pops. And it pops and you're like, whoa, what was that? And it kind of startles you. Well, we don't ever want to get to the place where we're just stuffing our emotions. I was a professional stuffer. I was really good at that. I probably could have had a crown for that too, Johnny. Queen of stuffing it, because that's what I did for so long. Talking about our emotions, being in community with one another, being in fellowship with one another. I have a really strong faith, and I know that God did not create us to be in isolation. So however we can stay connected, things like this, Zoom, calling people, FaceTiming, waving to your neighbors, whatever you can do to keep that heart happy, to keep that heart safe, to keep that heart joyful. That's emotional self-care. And then the last one is the spiritual side of self-care. I just mentioned I have a strong faith, and I fully believe that everyone should have some kind of connection to something bigger than themselves. My connection is to God, and every morning I have time with him, and I know that I have peace during all of this crazy chaos and this unknown and this uncertainty in this pandemic, because I give myself permission to take that time with him every morning. So whatever it is for you, whether you have a different faith or a different belief, I encourage you all to have some kind of spiritual self-care. Again, whether that's prayer or meditation or yoga or whatever it is to connect you to something bigger than yourself. That's the fourth area of self-care. So real quick before I move on, so it's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Those are the 4 areas of self-care, and they're all really important, again, because it's like the foundation of our building. It's the waterproofing, it's the insulation in the walls, it's the conduit under the floor, it's the crawl space, it's all of those systems that we don't see, but without which our building won't stand. So if you think of our bodies as this massive, beautiful, miraculous masterpiece of a building, there are so many systems in there, right? And I could get into a biology lesson, but I won't, because that's not my expertise. So we need to have all of those elements in our self-care. How are we doing so far? Are we good? Yes, nods. Okay, awesome. Yes, just type in the chat box if something's going on and you need me to slow down or something. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Eva. Okay, so let's move on. So you came to learn 3 strategies that you can start right now. These are simple strategies that you can start right now in this time of pandemic. And again, for us right now, this is the COVID pandemic, but who knows, maybe life's going to throw another curveball to you some other time down the road. And this is a strategy that you can take with you whenever that happens. So strategy number 1 is to bookend your day. And it's a simple strategy. And really what it means is you start with yourself and you end with yourself, just like bookends. And I love this picture because it's like the superhero and he's like, yeah, I'm holding up my books. And so if you think of yourself as this superhero holding up your peace of mind, your sanity, your ability to focus and be effective and productive and efficient and happy and joyful and spread love, the way that that's going to happen is to bookend your day. So I mentioned that every morning I get up and I have time with God, and that's how I start my day. And some days it's 10 minutes. Some days it's an hour. I would say probably on average it's 30 minutes. And I sit in my chair in the living room and I have my cup of coffee and I have my blanket and I get all cozy and I have my Bible app or whatever Bible study or devotional I'm doing. And I am just having that time with God. It's intentional time with God. And that fills me up so that I can pour out throughout the rest of the day. We've all heard that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. So this is me pouring into me so that throughout the rest of the day, I have something to give back to others. So whatever your morning looks like, and I know sometimes we have little itty bitty babies and newborns and we can't just sit for 30 minutes, or sometimes we have kids who need help or a spouse or something or someone that needs our attention. But I promise you, if you can even give yourself 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes. How long do we spend scrolling through Facebook or Instagram? Transfer some of that time into pouring into yourself in the morning. And again, whatever that looks like to you, maybe it is just sitting quietly and doing a breath work meditation. Maybe it's having a cup of tea outside on the patio. Maybe it's just stretching. Maybe it's writing out a note to a friend or a family member. Whatever it is, just something to pour into yourself, to fill yourself up first so that you have something left to give others. And then in the evening, you do the same thing. So you bookend yourself in the morning, you bookend yourself in the evening. And one thing that I tell all my clients, and they don't like me very much for this oftentimes, but never go to bed without knowing what your day looks like the following day. I'll repeat that. Never go to bed without knowing what your day looks like the following day. And there's a couple reasons for this. One, it's so that when you wake up in the morning, you're not like reaching for your phone and like, oh my God, what do I have today? I'm frantic. No, you can just put the phone away. I don't even sleep with the phone in my room. Success strategy. Yes, I love it, Johnny. The other reason is that as soon as you put your head on your pillow, you can start visualizing what your successful day looks like tomorrow. And then the same thing in the morning. Maybe you don't have a practice of prayer or meditation. Maybe that's not your thing, and that's fine. But what you can do is set your alarm, hit the snooze button, don't go back to sleep, visualize what you have going on that day, visualize the success without even having to get out of bed. But you can't do that unless the night before you know what your day is for tomorrow. Yeah, Patty, I do my planner the night before, helps see what I have. Yes, absolutely. You knew you had to be home to listen to this. I love it. Yeah. And it creates more of a sense of peace, because when we don't know what we have going on, it creates worry, and a worried mind is not a settled mind. So look at your calendar before you go to bed to see what you have coming the next day. That's just one example. Journaling. This was really the main thing that I wanted to share that my clients hate when I tell them to do, is to journal. And let me tell you this is my journal, okay? It's a spiral bound notebook. It's like 99 cents or $1.99 from CVS, from the drugstore. It's not a fancy gold leafed, beautiful, embossed, silver, bedazzled pen. It's a piece of paper. It's a lined piece of paper with whatever pen I can grab. And the point of journaling, and this is where people get scared, and this is where people I'll just leave that there because that thought wasn't cohesive. So thank you for that, Grace. The thing about journaling is it is designed to get whatever is in here out. Journaling is designed to get whatever's in here out. This is where all those little voices are, right? This is where the doubt or the fear or the uncertainty or the anger or the unworthiness, the guilt, all of that stuff lives up here. And we don't want to keep that. It's like filling that balloon up with all those negative things, like the emotional self-care, right? Journaling is a way to practice emotional self-care because it's releasing, it's making space, it's getting all of this negative stuff out so that we can fill it with more positive stuff. Journaling also doesn't necessarily have to be writing on lined paper in cohesive sentences. Journaling doesn't have to be, today I feel blah, 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 or blank, blank, blank. Journaling can be an expression of letting go whatever it is up here that you want to release because it's no longer serving you. So journaling can be writing poetry. Journaling can be drawing. Journaling can be painting. Journaling can be expressive dance. It can be whatever you need, whatever your body needs, whatever your heart needs to release whatever emotion, thought, or feeling that no longer serves you, to make room for those emotions, thoughts, and feelings that are for your best interest. Everyone is here on this planet for a purpose. And if we don't make room for that purpose to come in and flow through us, we're never going to get there. So journaling in the evening. The other way that you can journal, which is honestly probably the simplest thing, is a gratitude journal. 3 things that you're grateful for today. And I promise you, I actually guarantee it, because there have been scientific studies done, that if you find yourself in an ungrateful state, if you're complaining, if you are just feeling negative, and there's no there's no wrongness around that, right? We're all human. We all go through these times of like, oh, I can't believe it. Or, oh, I can't believe my kids keep interrupting me. Or I can't believe that I'm out of coffee creamer. Or I can't believe that I can't go to the gym to work out. Like, I can't believe that these people are going crazy out there. 3 things that you're grateful for, and I guarantee you, you will start to find joy in your life. And again, we're all human. We're all entitled to feel whatever it is that we feel. There's no right or wrong, but you get to choose which feelings, thoughts, and emotions serve you and which ones you can release and let go. So that's bookending your day. Start with yourself, end with yourself. Self-care is in pink. Love the color coding. Absolutely. Again, if it's not journaling or just something for yourself to fill yourself up throughout the day. So you start with yourself, you pour into yourself in the morning, and then you, throughout the day, you're giving to other people, you're serving to other people. The advanced strategy would be to do your self-care throughout the day. And some of my clients know that. Patty, you know that. Michelle, you know that. But at a minimum, you start with yourself and you end with yourself. So that's strategy number 1. Strategy number 2, I love this. This is fun. How many of you have seen the movie Pirates of the Caribbean? Give me a ahoy in the comments or something if you have seen the movie Pirates of the Caribbean. I love this. So Captain Jack Sparrow, and I can't remember, forgive me, I can't remember exactly which movie it was in. Ahoy, but there was a time when he was on the ship and about to, I don't know, probably get thrown overboard or walk the plank or something like that. Yeah, I love it. I love all the mateys. And he said this word, parlay. Do you all remember that? And I loved it because that invoked, Toby, you don't know the movie. Okay. You'll have to go back and watch it. That invoked the pirate code. And the pirate code was that if anyone said the word parlay, it would invoke temporary protection, and they would be brought before the captain to negotiate without being attacked until the parlay is complete. So I would be in trouble, someone was going to attack me, and I'd say parlay, and they'd have to take me to their captain, and I'd get to negotiate with the captain, and I would be safe. I'd be temporarily safe. So I thought that it would be fun to invoke the pirate code in terms of self-care. So I want you guys all to write permission to pause in the chat, because that, ladies and gentlemen, that is our code. It's not parlay. We're not pirates. We are human beings in this crazy year of 2020. And our code that we get to say without being attacked, we get temporary protection without being attacked, is permission to pause. And that's strategy number 2. And I love it because not only do we get to say that to ourselves when we're tired, when we're overwhelmed, when we're stressed, when we're hungry, when we're thirsty, when we're angry, when we're stressed, when we're worried, when we're fearful, but we get to share that with other people. And I love this. I taught this at a conference last summer in Tahoe. It was a women's leadership and legacy retreat in Tahoe. Michelle, I think you were there. And everyone loved it because we all now had this common language. And the beauty of this was that if someone was consuming information, because we had been listening to speakers all day, and it was a lot, and I don't know if anyone else has ever been to a conference or a retreat or a multi-day event where it was very interactive, but it's a lot. Like, it's a lot emotionally to just consume information and to process, and also as a speaker and a presenter to kind of flip back and forth. It was a lot. So I wanted to come up with something where we all have this common language, where if someone said, oh, permission to pause, that they didn't have to give an excuse for why they needed to go step away and take care of themselves. So that's what I want you all to get in the habit of doing, is permission to pause. And again, even if it's just saying that to yourself, like, oh, I am like working on this document, I'm working on a new talk or something, and my brain is full. I need to empty my brain out. I'm gonna let myself have permission to pause. And this is a phrase that you can use with your kids. It's a phrase you can use with your spouse, with your coworkers, with pretty much anyone, as long as you explain what the code is, right? It basically just gives you permission to pause, to go practice some self-care, to go take 2 minutes outside and get some sunshine on your face, to go fill your water up, to go to the bathroom, to grab a snack, to take care of you first. Because again, if you're not taking care of you first, if you're not pouring into yourself, you have nothing left to give others. So permission to pause. So yay for permission to pause. That's strategy number 2. And then the last strategy is to seek accountability. And this one is really important because we can all have these great ideas and these great plans, and we can write it down, and we can have the most beautiful to-do list and the most beautiful color-coded calendar like Patty does with her pink self-care. But if there's no one to hold us accountable, yes, Patty, I see it. If there's no one to hold us accountable, who's to say if we're going to do it or not? And like I said earlier, we all are put on this planet for a reason. We all have a mission. We all have a purpose. And don't you want to fulfill that purpose? Don't you want to fulfill that mission? And the only way we're going to get there is if we do what we say we're going to do. And the best tool that I know to hold myself to doing what it is that I say I'm going to do is to have some accountability. And there are different ways that we can do that. You can hire a coach. You can hire me. You can buddy up with someone. But everyone needs accountability so that we're holding ourselves up to do what it is that we say we want to do. And yes, there is a scenario where, well, I thought I wanted to do this and then I got started and it really isn't what I want to do. And that's fine. We're all allowed to change our mind, to make a new decision. We are allowed to pursue different opportunities. We're allowed to walk through a door and decide, ooh, that really wasn't in alignment with me. But what if we walk through, we're allowed to redo. But what if, and this has happened to me many times, where God has like literally shut a door that I thought I should be walking through, and he's over here opening a different door. And that happens, honestly, when I started speaking, and I started speaking about my postpartum depression, and I was like, no, I think you have the wrong person. I'm not the one that should be speaking. You guys, I was terrified to speak. Terrified. I was the shy one who would just sit back like this, and I'd have my little notebook and my head would be down and I would just be taking notes. Never in a million years did I think that I would be the one in the front of the room, and never in a million years would I think that I would actually enjoy being the one in the front of the room anyone else can relate, maybe not to the speaking part, but to looking back and thinking, wow, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I never would have done that. And now I'm a completely different person. And part of what has gotten me to this point now where I love sharing with people, I love being a speaker, I love being at the front of the room. Zoom front of the room is a little bit different, right? But the only reason that I am where I am is because I've had coaches, I've had mentors, I've had accountability buddies. I have a call with someone every other week, and we talk about our goals. We talk about accountability. We hold each other to the fire. We kind of do the tough love. Yeah, Amy, you never thought you would have been educating women and doing what you do. Exactly, right? God has plans for us that we don't always know what they are. We don't always believe them. We don't always think that we're the one for that plan. But I trust you that, at least in my experience, that if we just walk through the doors that He opens and we have that accountability to get it going, that we're going to succeed in whatever it is. So again, we're all here on this planet for a reason, and having that accountability, having a coach, having a mentor, having a group that you can post in and say, oh my gosh, these are the things I want to get done today. Will someone please hold me accountable? We need that. If someone can, or maybe Johnny, you can just mute whoever just came on, please. Or whoever's, Amy, thank you. Okay, so that's strategy number 3, seek accountability. And I like to think also that it's like having someone in your back pocket, right? It's being able to just pull out your phone and text someone. And it doesn't necessarily have to be accountability on business. Maybe you have a personal goal. Maybe you want to get healthy. Maybe you want to figure out redoing your office. That's something that I have recently been doing. I've been painting, I'm finding new things, and I'm making it more of a space for me, but I had to seek accountability for that because it literally has been 6 years since I've been talking about it, and I was kind of done with it, right? Anyone else relate to that, where you talk about it a lot? I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then finally someone says, well, when are you going to do it? That's what accountability is. So it's like having someone in your back pocket. Yeah, Eva, having someone in your back pocket. I can be that for you. I can be your accountability. And there's a way that we can talk about that later. So before I move on and start to wrap this up, I want to know, out of those 3 strategies, which strategy resonates the most with you? Was it and just type in the chat 1, 2, or 3. 1 was bookend your day. 2 was keep to the code, the Pirate's Code or the self-care code, permission to pause. And 3 is seek accountability. So I'm just curious which one of those 3 strategies resonates with you the most. Bookend my day, permission to pause, accountability. Awesome. Accountability, a lot of accountability. Yeah. It's interesting because accountability is, it's a simple strategy, but it's a beast. It's, you kind of have to own yourself. You kind of have to stand up and be willing to receive some tough love at times, right? Yeah. The code, remind yourself to breathe. Yes. Permission to pause. Permission to just step back and go outside and breathe and take a breath and like, okay, slow down, right? Yeah, accountability. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so self-care is putting your oxygen mask on first. The airlines have known this for a long time. And we might not all be flying right now, but when we are able to go travel again and you hear the voice on the intercom that says, hello, this is your pilot speaking. I don't know if anyone of you have seen that meme going around. I can't wait until I can hear the voice. Oh, hello, this is your pilot speaking, because that means we're actually flying and traveling again. But the airlines have it right that we have to put our oxygen mask on first. Because what happens if we lose oxygen and we don't have our mask? We are no good for anyone else. Again, self-care, it's the foundation. It's the foundation for all these systems, without which we don't survive. Self-care is not this luxury. Self-care is not a nice to have. Self-care is absolutely 100% essential. If it was a business, it would be open right now. And I'm a business and I'm open right now. Self-care is essential. It is the core to everything. If we don't have our health, we have nothing. And health in terms of our physical and our financial health, our mental health and our spiritual health, our emotional health. If we don't have any of that, we have nothing. So let me ask you, how are you going to do your self-care? What is your self-care? What are you going to do? How are you going to take action from what you just learned today? What are you going to do? Are you going to implement something? Are you going to figure out what your new routine looks like? Are you going to figure out what you can do to bookend your day? Are you going to seek accountability? Are you going to share the code with someone? Tell me what you're going to do. Tell me what you're going to do. Tell the others. Put in the chat. Reach out to someone. Maybe that someone's not on this call today. Maybe you're going to share this call with someone so that you can have a similar language, so that you can share the language of permission to pause and not feel awkward about it, right? I want to give you one last little sort of bonus nugget tip. And Patty, I love that. Schedule a nap after the webinar. Good. One little last bonus tip, because I know that one thing that tends to hold us back a lot is this guilt, right? Again, I don't know about any of you, but I used to struggle really, really, really hard with guilt. This guilt over, well, I can't do anything for me. How can I possibly do anything for me? I have a newborn and a toddler. I have a husband who went back to work for me, so I could stay home. The mom guilt, absolutely, yes. Love it. Share the code. Yeah. I used to have a ton of guilt, and it wasn't until I found myself sort of spiraling back down into this depressive state where I realized, hey, pick yourself up. You're doing this not for you. You're doing this for the people that you love. I was giving and giving and giving and giving all those years when I was trying to be this perfect mom and then this perfect entrepreneur, and then, oh, so-and-so's doing this, so I have to do that. And this person's doing something new, so I have to do that also. And I was trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? I was trying to do everything that everyone else was doing because I thought it was the right thing that I had to do. Excuse me, needed a drink of water there. And I had such guilt over doing all of these things, but I was feeling drained and depleted and depressed again because I wasn't filling myself up first. I wasn't pouring into myself first. I was just giving, giving, giving. And my cup was dry and empty, and the saucer was cracked, and it was not pretty. And then I had this mindset shift. I had this shift where I realized, okay, all these things that I'm trying to do, I'm doing for other people. So I can get rid of this guilt of me taking time for me, because really when I take time for me, it's not for me. It's for my family. It's for my clients. It's for the work that I'm putting out in the world. It's for the community. It's for the purpose and the mission that God put on my heart. It's not for me. It's not about me. So I have this little phrase that I came up with that I want to give you. And you can write this one down as well. And it's something that you can put up on a Post-it, and you can put on your mirror. You can tell it to other people. Sometimes we do find ourselves where people are projecting their guilt upon us. And I just want to say to that, other people's opinion of you are not your business. But what you can say is, when that guilt is starting to creep in and you know that you have to give yourself permission to pause. You know you have to pause because the overwhelm is just getting too much. You can say to yourself, or you can say to this person, I love you, so I am taking care of me. I love you, so I am taking care of me. And again, if that means that you have to go look yourself in the mirror because you have to kick this guilt out of your own head up here, you go look yourself in the mirror and you say, I love you, so I am taking care of me. If it means that you need to have a conversation with your kids and say, hey, mommy or daddy needs 5 minutes of peace and quiet, or just a moment of silence. And I need this because I love you, so I'm taking care of me. I've had that conversation many times with my own kids. And yeah, it might take a while, especially if you have younger ones, but they get it because they'll see how much calmer and how much more peace you have as a parent when they allow you to take those 5 minutes, to take the 2 minutes, to go to the bathroom without interruption. I know many of you have been there like me. So that's just a quick little bonus tip for you. I love you, so I am taking care of me. Okay, so I have something special for you. Something special, even something more. I love working with people one-on-one. I love these group Zooms. I love connecting with people. So what I would love to offer each and every one of you, and again, if you're watching the recording, this stands for you as well. But I have blocked out time in my calendar to talk to each one of you. And you can schedule a self-care discovery call with me for 30 minutes. It's a private call. You just go to the link talkwithpamela.com and you can pick a time that works for you. And what this call is about is really just seeing where you're at with your self-care, helping you discover what your best next move is. And if there's a way that we work together, great. If it's just me listening to you and offering a suggestion, that's great too. So it's a complimentary call. It's a 30-minute self-care discovery call. Again, you just go to the link talkwithpamela.com and you can find the time that works for you. So I encourage you all to take advantage of that. Again, even if you decide not to work with me in the future, but just so that you can have someone to hold you accountable, to listen to what it is that you're doing. What are you doing to bookend your day? What are you doing during those permissions to pause? What are you doing to seek your accountability? And of course, I would love to work with you. I have several different programs that I offer. I also have a Facebook group that you are all welcome to join, and that is a free group, and it is called Self-Care Isn't Selfish, obviously. So you can join me in that group if you're not already in there. Just let me know that you heard about it on this webinar, and I will approve you in. But please, I would love to speak with each and every one of you and help you discover what your best next move is so that you can keep practicing your self-care and become the best version of you. So that's all I have for you today. I am so grateful for the time that you spent with me this morning or this afternoon or this evening if you are not in my Pacific time zone. So I'm really grateful for that. I'm grateful that God gave me this gift to be able to share this message with you. Again, I encourage you all to schedule schedule a call with me. There's no risk, no obligation, no pressure at all. It's just me listening to you and helping you discover what your self-care best next move looks like for you. So talkwithpamela.com. I am going to stop this recording, and then I'm going to open this up. I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and I'm going to open this up and unmute everyone if anyone has a question. And if you don't, you are free to go. You are free to go enjoy the rest of your day. Oh, Patty, thank you. My life has improved because of the time Pamela spent with me last year, giving me permission to do self-care. Thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. You're a tiny, tiny little video in the side of my screen there. So I'm going to, let me see, stop sharing. Oh, yes, Amy, thank you. Thank you. Go help your hubby. Let's see, Diane, thank you. Awesome. Good job keeping your accountability. Yes, Toby, schedule a call. Eva, thank you. All right, let me stop this recording.